Hello, my name is the Politically Incorrect Dragon, and I'm here to bring you a history on the dreaded swastika. Yes, I know it was used for the mass murder of millions of Jews back in World War II, but I'm here to shed some light on the terrifying symbol of Nazi supremacy. In fact, the answers may surprise you, so come with me on a historical journey. Alright, so here we are. I found a site that sheds light. It's called history1900s.about.com-cs. I'll have the information down in the description below. But it says here, yes, the swastika was an extremely powerful symbol. The Nazis used it to murder millions of people during the Holocaust. But here it says, but below it, it says here, the swastika is an ancient symbol used for over 3,000 years. That means it predates even the Egyptians. It even says it as far back as 1000 BCE, which means that even though Hitler stole and mutilated its amazing origin, it was still used before his rise. Here it says here, during the 1,000 years, it was used in many cultures around the world, including in China, Japan, India, and Southern Europe. And by the Middle Ages, the swastika was well known, if not commonly used, symbol, but was called many different names. Names were, in China, Huan, Filafoot, Henkin-Cruz, Tetrashilon, and Gamadion, and in India, it is actually called the swastika. We do not know for how long, but it is known that Native Americans used it. So we're looking at the original meaning, and it says here the word swastika comes from the Sanskrit swastika. Su meaning good, asti meaning to be, and ka as a suffix. And here it says, until the Nazi used the symbol, it was used by many cultures throughout the past for 3,000 years to represent life, sun, power, strength, and good luck. Meaning the heathen Hitler, yes, I called him a heathen because to distort something as powerful as this for your own ends is, ugh. Imagine if the American flag was used that way. Or any flag for that matter. But anyways, it says here, even in the 20th century, earliest 20th century to be exact, it was still used for positives. Like here, it says, for instance, the swastika was a common decoration for cigarette cases, postcard, coins, and buildings. During World War I, the swastika could even be found on the shoulder patches of the American 45th Division on the Finnish Air Force until after World War II. You hear that? It meant many good things. Alright, so yeah. It says here, in 1800s, countries around Germany were growing much larger and forming empires, yet Germany was not unified country until 1871. Alright, so here it says that the Germans decided to go, hey, that was a great idea, let's use it. So they did, to represent a long Germanic and Aryan history. By the end of the 19th century, the swastika could be found on nationalist Germans' Volkslied periodicals and the official emblem of the Germans Gymnastics League. That was awesome. Meant strength, power, youth. Alright, so it's Alright, in the beginning of the 20th century, the swastika was a common symbol of German nationalism and could be found in a multitude of places. So, it seems like they liked this idea. Alright, so it says here that, such as the emblem for Wundervolk, sorry, I'm going to completely destroy this, a German youth movement. Nice. Alright, anti-Semitic periodical Astara, and, alright, so, I don't know how to pronounce any of these. Can somebody German please help me out? Thanks. Alright. So by 1920, Hitler decided that the Nazi Party could not be very effective without its own insignia and flag. And well, here it says, at the same time, on August 7th of 1920, at the Salzburg Congress, the red flag with a circle and black swastika became the official emblem of the Nazi Party. In Mein Kampf, Hitler describes the Nazis' new flag. In red we see the social idea of the movement, while in white we see the nationalistic idea, and the swastika, the mission of the struggle for the victory of Aryan man. And by the same... yeah. And, well, from there, it only got worse and worse, because by this point, soon they destroyed the powerful positive message of the swastika. Right. So all that good positive message and shit, well, take a look now. There is a great debate as to what the swastika means now. For 3,000 years, the swastika meant life and good luck. But in the span of about 20, they destroyed all of it. Now it means death and hate. See here. And the conflicting meanings are destroying Buddhists and Hindus, where the swastika is a very religious symbol. And here it says Shirag Badlani shares a story about the one time he went to make some photocopies of some Hindu gods for his temple. While standing in line to pay for this photocopy, some people behind him noticed that one of the pictures had a swastika, and they called him a Nazi. Sad. Am I right? Unfortunately, the Nazis were so effective at their use of the swastika emblem that many do not even know any other meaning for the swastika. Can there be two completely opposite meanings for one symbol? Well, of course. Judging from what we've read, the swastika did not originally mean hate. The direction of the swastika matter. In ancient times, the direction of the swastika was interchangeable, as can be seen on any ancient Chinese silk drawing. Some cultures in the past had differentiated meaning between the clockwise swastika and the counterclockwise swastika. In these cultures, the swastika symbolized health and life, while its counterclockwise took on the mystical meaning of bad luck and misfortune. But since the Nazis used the use of the swastika, some people are trying to differentiate the two meanings of the swastika by varying its direction, trying to make the clockwise Nazi version of the swastika mean hate and death, while the counterclockwise version could hold the ancient meaning of the symbol life and good luck. Alright, here we are at www.ancientorigins.net. Leave a link in the description below. So, here we go. We're going to take a look at this. The symbol of the swastika and its 12,000-year-old history. So, it says here that it was used by one of the most hated men on Earth, and you know what? They're right. But before that, before the millions of unnecessary deaths, it was a powerful symbol. And here we're going to uncover even more about this mysterious symbol and what it meant to those before. All right. So, it says here that for the Hindus and Buddhists in India and other Asian countries, the swastika is an important symbol. To this day, it can still be seen in abundance over there. It was also used by the ancient Greeks and existed in the ancient city of Troy. The ancient Druids and Celts also used the symbol. It was also used by Nordic tribes and even early Christians, including the Teutonic Knights, a German medieval military order which became purely religious Catholic order. But why is the symbol so important? Why did Adolf Hitler decide to use it? Now, you already went over what it meant, and we even went over its names. But we're also going to look at its other meanings. Like, here we go. It shows us the positive and negative annotations of it. It says here that a Sanskrit scholar by the name of P.R. Sarkar in 1979 said that the deeper meaning of the word is permanent victory. He also said that it can have positive and negative meaning depending on how it is drawn. So, on the right, you see the positive, which is the symbol of the god Vishnu and the sun, while in the left is a symbol of Kal and magic. The double meaning of the symbols is common in the ancient traditions. Just like the pentagram right here. It's set just like the pentagram. Like the pentagram, there is negative and positive connotations of it, meaning that it could either be upside down or upside up, and each one will have a different meaning. Now let's look here at the bottom of this. It says the earliest swastika ever found was uncovered in Mezine, Ukraine, carved on an ivory figurine, which dates back to 12,000 years. One of the earliest cultures that have used that used it was the Neolithic culture in southern Europe, which is now Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia, and Herzegovina, known as the Vikna culture, which dates back around 8,000 years. Now, from there, it's in Buddhism. Well, from there it spread and became a really popular, powerful, good message. In Buddhism, the swastika is a symbol of good fortune, prosperity, abundance, and eternity. It is directly related to Buddha, which people believe is the god of rest and peace. And it is said to contain Buddha's mind. And you can see here in the walls of the Christian catacombs in Rome, the swastika appears next to the words Zodiko Zodiko, which means life to life, and can be found on the window openings of mysterious Labila rock churches in Ethiopia and various other churches around the world. Like right here, you can see many of its early advances. So, in Nordic myths, Odin represented passing through space as a whirling disk or swastika down through all worlds. In North America, the swastika was used by the Navajos. In ancient Greece, Pythagoras used the swastika under the name Tetrakitis, and it was a symbol linking heaven and earth, with the right arm pointing to heaven and its left arm pointing to earth. It was also used by the Phoenicians as a symbol of sun and was a sacred symbol used by the priestesses as seen here. And you can see a few related links, that's fine. Alright, now, it says, how and why did so many diverse countries and cultures across the years use the name and symbol apparently with the same meaning? It is, well, that's the unfortunate part, because it all came back to one meaning, eternity and life. But unfortunately, that has been dashed by the crippling effects of the Nazi regime and those affected by it. Now, the sacred swastika is now used as a symbol of hate and death. Here, I have one more article to show you. How the world loved the swastika until Hitler stole it. Here, it's going to explain who used it and why. Not that the other two articles didn't do a dashing job, but I would believe I'd like to take a more insight to its ancient meanings rather than its deadly meanings. So, for now, here we go. Alright. In the Western world, the swastika was synonymous with fascism, but it goes back thousands of years and has been used as a symbol of good fortune in almost every culture in the world. Now, understand, it says here that it was a pretty amazing thing before Hitler. Well, let's look. Again, we've been through its ancient meaning, that's great, but here explains how it traveled. Early Western travelers to Asia were inspired by its positive and ancient associations and started using it back home. And by the beginning of the 20th century, there was a huge fad for the swastika as a benign good luck symbol. So, from what I hear, the swastika meant tons of positive things. It meant good fortune. It meant an amazing... It was an object of complete positivity until, you know, the world's biggest asshat took it and destroyed it. So, yeah, let's keep reading. Oh. In his book, The Swastika Symbol Beyond Redemption, apparently, he used it. Look at this guy. He put the swastika on everything. Hell, even Coca-Cola used it. It was used by the American military during World War I as late as 1939. Of course, we stopped using it by the 1930s as the Nazis rose to power. Now, it says here, the Nazi use of the swastika stems from the work of 19th century German scholars translating old Indian texts, who noticed similarities between their own language and Sanskrit. They conclude that the Indian Germans must have had a shared ancestry and imagine a race of white, godlike warriors they called Aryans. Bigoted much? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, so some idiot went and fucked it up, but look. Alright. This idea was seized upon by anti-Semitic nationalist groups who appropriated the swastika as an Aryan symbol to boost a sense of ancient lineage for the Germanic people. The black straight arms hacking crews on the distinctive white circle and red background of the Nazi flag would have become the most hated symbol of the 20th century, inextricably linked to the atrocities committed under the Third Reich. Well, here comes the dark past. For the Jewish people, the swastika was a symbol of fear, suppression, and of extermination. It is a symbol that we will never, ever be able to change, says 93-year-old Holocaust survivor Freddie Nuller. If they put the swastika on gravestones or synagogues, it puts fear into us. Surely it shouldn't happen again. Well, the swastika was banned in Germany at the end of the war, and Germany tried unsuccessfully to introduce an EU-wide ban in 2007. The irony is that the swastika is more European in origin more than most people realize. Well, geez. It seems that the swastika was pretty fucking amazing if it went that far. Now, if you want to see just how deeply the swastika pattern is in Europe, a good place to start is the Kyiv, where the National Museum of the History of Ukraine has an impressive range of exhibits. Among the most highly prized treasures is a small ivory figurine of a female bird made from the tusk of a mammoth. It was found in 1908 at the Pathologic settlement of Mezin near the Russian border. On the torso of the bird is engraved an intricate meander of pattern joined up swastikas. It is the oldest defined swastika pattern in the world and has been radiocarbon dated to an astonishing 15,000 years ago. It was also near many phallic objects, which means not only did it mean life, good fortune, and many other of positive things, it also was one for fertility. Now, it says here that in 1965, a paleontologist named Valentin Bibikov discovered the swastika meander pattern on the bird is very similar to the naturally occurring pattern visible on a cross-section of ivory. Could it be that the pathologic makers of the figurine were simply reflecting on what they saw in nature? The huge mammoth they associated with well-being and fertility? Well, maybe, but single swastikas began to appear in Neolithic Vika culture across southern Eastern Europe around 7,000 years ago. But it's in the Bronze Age that they became more widespread across the whole of Europe. So, basically, by the time we invented technology, we had already adopted this amazingly positive symbol. Let's read on. Single swastika... Alright, so yeah, I already read this. Alright. In the museum's collection, there are clay pots with single swastikas encircling their upper half, which date back to around 4,000 years ago when the Nazis occupied Kiev in World War II. They were so convinced that these pots were evidence of their own Aryan ancestors that they took them back to Germany. They were returned after the war. In the museum's Gracian collection, the swastika is visible as the architectural ornament which has come to be known as the Greek key pattern, widely focused on tiles and textiles to this day. Right here. The ancient Greeks also used single swastika motifs to decorate their pots and vases. One fragment in the collection from around 7th century BCE shows a swastika with limbs like unfurling tendrils painted under the belly of the goat. But perhaps the most surprising exhibit in the museum is of fragile textile fragments that have survived from the 12th century AD. They were believed to belong to the dress collar of a Slav princess. Slav, not slave. Embroidered with gold crosses and swastikas to ward off evil. right here, swastikas, to ward off evil. The swastikas remained popular embroidery motif in Western Europe and Russia right up to World War II. A Russian author named Pavel Kutenkov has identified nearly 200 variations across the region, but the Hanking Kreuz remains a highly charged symbol. In 1941, Kiev was the site of one of the worst Nazi mass murders of the Holocaust when nearly 34,000 Jews were rounded up and killed at the ruin of Babi Yar. Jesus Christ, that's one way to mar the name of an otherwise perfect symbol. In Western Europe, the use of indigenous ancient swastikas petered out long before the modern age. But examples can be found in many places, such as the famous Bronze Age swastika stone on Ilkley Moor in Yorkshire. Many people think this long history could help revive the symbol in Europe as something positive. Peter Mason, owner of an upmarket tattoo parlor in Copenhagen, says the swastika is an element of Norse mythology that holds a strong appeal to many Scandinavians. He is one of the founders of last year's Learn to Love the Swastika Day on the 13th of November, when tattoo artists around the world offer free swastikas to raise awareness of the symbol's long multicultural past. The swastika is a symbol of love, and Hitler abused it. So we're not trying to reclaim the Hanken Kreuz, but that would be impossible. Nor is it something we want people to forget. We just want to know that the swastika comes in many forms, none of which have ever been used for anything bad. We are also trying to show the right-wing fascists that it's wrong to use this symbol. If we can educate the public about the true meaning of the swastika, maybe you can take it away from the fascists. But for those like Freddie Nuller who have experienced the horrors of fascism, the prospect of learning to love the swastika is not so easy. Well, gee. It was a terrible day. But for those people who went through the Holocaust, we will always remember what the swastika was like in our life, a symbol of pure evil, he says. We didn't know how the symbol dates back to so many thousands of years ago, but I think it's interesting for people to learn that the swastika was not always the symbol of fascism. Pictures of the U.S. Army biplane of pre-war productions and the Brooklyn Academy of Music are from the collection of Stephen Heller. So, with that all being said and done, what does this symbol mean? Well, it depends on where you're from and how you draw it. If you're like me and have a very interested thing in learning, you'll learn that the swastika actually meant peace, love, and learning. However, well, not learning, but it meant fertility, eternal life. Many things positive things about life. But for those who were around during the time of the Holocaust, it means evil, hate, corruption, and death. But thanks for joining me on this historical journey of the swastika. See you guys around.